All right, everybody, it's Friday, so it must be time for Q&A with Alan and Marshall, except Marshall is not here. Um, so filling in for him, we have a special guest. And I am so excited because this is going to be an episode that I know very little about. So we brought in who I am now coining. I don't know if you saw this, Liz. I posted it. The Queen of Stitch and Thread, Liz Beavers, who is the segment manager of embroidery for our sponsor, Graphic Solutions Group. So, Liz, thank you for coming on the show and co-hosting.
Hey, I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be a great episode and a lot of information to give out to everybody. So thank you for having me.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. So if you're watching, this is a Q&A. So if you're watching, please log on, tell us where you're from and share this. This is how we get viewers. So, we're glad that we're going into our third year of GSG sponsoring, being a sponsor, and it's been awesome, but it's all about viewership. And we were just talking that we have viewers all over the world. And it is amazing when we see people that watch from India and we've seen them live from Pakistan, from India, from Sweden, from Indonesia, from the Philippines, and it's so cool. From I want to say Slovakia, but it's not Slovakia, but there's on there, but a bunch of people, and then we see them that watch the replay. So, and that's all because of people sharing it and watching it. So if you're watching it right now, make sure you share it, invite people. Don't keep this a secret to everybody. So, so Liz, we actually have some people watching right now from all over. One of your customers, I know, Cindy King from there in Texas. So excited to
Hey,
see you. She does a lot of embroidery there.
yeah, Cindy's
Charles
great.
from New Mexico. The Richard Greaves from Wyandotte, Michigan, who is, and Richard, I don't know if you've met Liz before at a show, but Richard is a guru in screen printing and trained me when I was just a kid. So, and still talks to me. He probably had to put me in my place a little bit when I was younger. Cindy says, "Oh no, a customer just walked in. What's up with that? Doing business during our show."
Yeah.
Lakeisha is in. She's always watching. So thank you, Lakeisha. Jose Pinata from Aurora, Illinois. Jose, thank you for watching on there. I was actually just in Chicago last week. And then, of course, Sean, who is co hosted with us from Alpharetta, Georgia. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Today is Cinco de Mayo.
Right. Yeah,
So,
Cinco de Mayo.
yep, absolutely. So I'm sure that's a big deal in Texas and even here.
Oh, yeah.
Probably for lunch, we'll be going to do tacos. As tacos probably not as good as you guys have there, but there's not a bad little taqueria not far from here. So I'll probably go there. Brian's here from Overcast, Missouri. Um, he's not. He says it's
Okay.
overcast, but I don't think where he's called is overcast. But I know you're out there in the middle of. You got to be going there. So Brian has co-hosted also and just been a great listener. So Liz, so how have you been? Tell me what's new and exciting at GSG in the world of embroidery.
Man, it's been wild and crazy. And we're just so delighted that everybody is still knocking it out of the ballpark in their own business. So here at Embroidery, we've been uh, blessed to have a lot of new items coming and being added to our ream of embroidery products. So things have really changed in the years.
Mhm.
I've been in the embroidery industry since '83, back when it was paper tape on some machines, and then we moved up
Oh yeah,
into discs. We were real excited when we finally got USB ports. Uh, and
I
then we started
remember.
getting
I
other
remember I
ones.
was new in the screen print industry in '87, and there were people still doing the paper tapes for digitizing.
Yeah,
Yeah, that,
and that's where I broke my teeth into embroidery, is getting into digitizing, and
yeah.
so it's been a lot of changes, and then things started settling down, and not so much. And then it just seems like, I guess during COVID, a lot of the engineers just had time to start looking at ways to increase.
Right.
productivity or new items to bring out. And I'm telling you, it's phenomenal what's going to be coming out here this year.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to hear again. So if you have questions, remember we have some uh, topics, but this is Q&A. So if you're an embroiderer, if you do embroidery or you're thinking about it, now is to ask a question. We'll bring it up, and if Liz and I can't answer it, we'll just make it up. We'll make up an answer. But if it's on embroidery, it's going to be I'll have very little. But of course, if you have a question on screen printing, on sales, on marketing, let us know. Or what you're doing, something cool. We always like to hear what people are doing out there in the field. So cool. So Liz, there's a bunch new in embroidery.
There is.
What's the first thing? You see everything in embroidery. You're at a lot of shows. What's some of the coolest stuff you've seen and going on with GSG? And I'm excited about this show, Liz, because we were talking earlier. I believe most people know Graphic Solutions Group is, of course, in my wheelhouse is screen printing. But I have clients that are buying substrate and sign materials and everything. And I don't think people realize how much and how big the power of embroidery of what GSG does. And so at all the branches, it's available.
Yeah, and yeah, Alan, you're correct. Embroidery is very strong here at GSG, and
Oh
all
yeah.
of our locations stock all the consumables you can even imagine, from all your basic threads. We have isocord Madeira, name brand bobbins, thread, needles, backings, everything you can imagine. We have at all of our locations, and they just need to reach out, look at our website. They can always contact for particular products, and we will have them.
Yeah, absolutely. And with 9 branches, man, if one branch doesn't have it, someone's going to have it, and they'll just get it to you, which is a
Yeah,
great little feature. So good. So
yeah,
what's the new stuff you're seeing out there that you think is real cool that people need to know about?
yeah. One of the coolest things right now is, well, there's going to be several, but the color reel. For those people that don't know what the color reel is, it is for any commercial embroidery machine.
Good.
It is an attachment that is on its own stand, and it will take one cone of white thread, a large
Hmm.
cone of white thread, and dye sublimate it to any PMS match you need to hit, any
Wow.
bleed effects you want. Uh, it goes through the system through a CYMK and sublimates this thread. Then it has a little dryer system where it dries it, and it comes right out and just stitches, eliminates thread breaks. It eliminates all the different trims
Yeah.
that most designs have when they're changing colors. Well, this just stitches without any trims and automatically goes to the next color. So that is going to increase your productivity.
I
And
would
like I said,
imagine
go ahead.
I would imagine that just to be able to match a PMS color is something we do in the screen print side, and there's ways in digital to get your color selection. But embroidery, it's always been okay. This color is close. You buy a cone
Mhm.
of it, and you have to switch it out. So man, what a time and labor savings too, where you can hit that 185 red immediately
Exactly.
in that
Exactly.
part. So, and
And it's going
that,
to eliminate all the,
yeah, well, like I said, thread breaks, and I've imagined, like you said, things I don't even think of trimming, and these are all time save. This is all time and labor savings that it would do away with. So, now this is available for any machine, so anybody looking at color reel, you'll be able to help them out there, no matter if they have a ZSK or any brand.
correct, correct. So the color reel is, for me, as once being a business owner, I
Mhm.
had to have a lot of inventory of colors. And then I would
Right.
have a customer that came in and wanted this certain shade of fuchsia. And I'd probably never
Yep.
use it again, but I'm
Yep.
going to have to order the color. Well, now this eliminates all of this. You don't have the inventory. You don't have to wait on delivery of your threads.
Yep.
If you have a job that comes in last minute, no problem. You can knock it straight out. Now, you're still going to want people say, well, with the color reel, now we don't need multi-needle embroidery machines. You're still going to need multi-needle because color reel is not going to be able to hit, say, metallic threads. So you're still
Yep.
going to need additional. And I think kind of doing 3D effects, a little bit of the color reel, then
Yep.
using maybe more of a sheen embroidery thread, just kind of mix it up in there.
Yep.
So for me, as a previous business owner, I'm not waiting for inventory. I'm not waiting for all this inventory that I have to maintain. So the color reel and the perfect match that we mentioned.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can get close with threads, but now with the color reel, you're going to hit it spot on. And I think this is just going to be great.
Well, and then I would think too, yeah, you wouldn't want a color reel for every, to do away with multiple needles. Man, because if you're doing especially your basic whites, your blacks, things like that, you're going to have cones on there. You're going to want to keep that going. You're not going to want to slow down. You're not going to want to do that and just keep it going. But like you said, for those special, okay, this shade of fuchsia, or my go-to is always a seafoam green or whatever. That okay, I'll never use it again. Thread goes bad. It gets brittle and stuff over time. And now whatever you haven't used, now it's kind of money down on an SKU. So this is just a money and time saver. We got a couple
It
more
is.
people. Cindy said, "Y'all talk real slow. Maybe I can finish with this customer fast." Um, Simon Clifford from Techmar, who we had a couple weeks ago, and we were actually talking about some of his products he makes for the embroidery industry because we knew you were coming on.
Nice.
And
Nice.
Jitendra, good evening from India. Happy to join you every weekend. Thank you very much, Jitendra. We were just talking about how many people, from overseas tune in every week. So thank you so much for tuning in. So, what's the response been on Color Reel?
The response has been fantastic. People are just amazed that how it stitches. It goes from one color to the next without trimming. Uh, those bleed effects that every embroiderer just has a hard time doing at a barbecue restaurant, and they have the
Right,
flames. It stitches a little yellow, a little orange, a little red, and
right.
there's trims. And a nightmare to digitize. Now it bleeds into those colors just beautifully, and the
Wow.
color reel comes with their own software. So you can take your
Okay.
existing design, your DST file, bring it into their software, and you can actually now tell it where you want the colors to change.
Oh, wow.
So it's phenomenal. It's one of the biggest game changers I've seen in a while for embroidery. So it's available now. It has been out beta tested for at least 4 years, 5 years. It's
Yep.
manufactured in Sweden. And
Okay.
the only thing is, it does require, because of the CYMK inks, at least 35% humidity. If you're
Sure.
in a very dry climate like El Paso, uh,
Yeah.
then you're going to need to have a humidifier, in the room. And it's due to the inks.
Well, and that's a great point. And I think in a lot of situations, especially on machinery, whether it be um, direct to screen and screen printing, or direct to garment, or sublimation, or anything where there's a print head, they forget the humidity level's got to be adjusted, and that's great to know on there. So thank you for bringing that up. Ray Greenwood is in, says greetings, screenlings. So even though we're talking embroidery today, so Ray is very familiar with GSG. He works with you guys quite a bit on the industrial printing side. So
Nice.
awesome. So with Color Reel, where can someone see this? I know you have an applications lab in Dallas. Is it a? Can they go there and see it?
Yes, we actually have it set up in our demo room. All you need to do is reach out to myself and we schedule an appointment and I'll
Yep.
be up there and show you this live in our actual sales room here, our demo room that we have for embroidery. So we have it there. It's going to be live in the indie show, the GPX indie show coming up. We'll have it there as well. So if you can make
Mhm.
it, we'll also have it at our bigger shows, ISS Fort Worth and Printed United.
Okay, great, great. And GPX Indies coming up. It's just next month, so
Yes.
that'll be awesome. So great. Ray agrees with this. Says any solvent or water-based ink process needs humidity control. It's so often ignored and not even measured. Agreed.
Yeah, yeah, totally agree with that.
Yep.
So, and
Absolutely.
the other thing with color reel too is you have to have a higher ceiling because the
Oh.
unit is on its own stand and sits above your machine, right?
Hmm.
And you're going to need anywhere from 12, 14-foot ceiling for
Okay.
everything to be able to fit. So that's going to be an important factor too that you have to keep in consideration.
Sure. Sure. Well, that's great information. So, if anybody out there is using Color Reel right now, I'd love to hear your experiences, or if this is something that tell us how you think that could help your business. So, Cindy, you're the embroidery queen that listens all the time, so I'm sure you already have one. If not, you should call Liz right away. So, wonderful. Now, on any site, so is there a limit? Now, this might be my ignorance talking. Is Color Reel something that you would recommend for, say, people have a one head machine, or would it be something for, where do you think the ROI would work on something like that?
Yeah, it's like the customers that are looking at it right now are putting it on their single heads and they're doing one-offs. So
Okay.
it's great for they're doing decorative items like on jackets and purses and
Oh.
colorful designs. Now there are customers that it's going to benefit if they have a forehead because now once like the Volvo logo, we
Hmm.
have this one and it does the bleed effects of their silver. It is they were shown this design and Volvo said this is what we're going to want on all of our vehicles and all of our garments.
Right.
So they actually purchased one and multi-head production was going to be needed because we're talking quite a few pieces at a time.
Okay. So perfect. So basically from, yeah, one to four heads and up. So
Right, exactly.
great. So I imagine, like everything, it's know your market, know your niche, and find a solution. It's a game changer, as you said. So
Yeah. And it's going to make you stand out from your competitors because you're going to be able to hit certain colors. You're going to be able to show bleed
sure.
effects that are just out of this world. So it's going to be something that is going to increase your business.
I would imagine in like corporate where they actually have a brand guideline for their um, for a lot of their colors, and they're saying, okay, we want printed shirts, here's the colors and stuff, and we want, other whether it be jackets or bags and stuff to be embroidered. And now that brand guideline stays the same.
Yeah, perfect.
Ray has a question: are these dyes or actual inks?
These are actual inks. It's
So
just like sublimation.
it is sublimation. So, Ray, you may not have been on.
Hmm.
So, what she said is that actually sublimates it right away, then goes right through the drying process before it goes into the needle. So, yeah, pretty cool. He says, cool. um, yeah, again, in the screen print world, we're like, oh, wow, that's a mind blow to us. So,
Yeah,
cool.
it is to us an embroidery. This is something fantastic.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I can't wait. I'm going to take a harder look at it in Indianapolis. So that'll be awesome on there. So
Yeah.
what else is new? I know there's some other stuff coming out that you guys have talked about.
Yeah, for those of you that may have been at the Long Beach show this past January, if you were not, or maybe you missed it, uh,
Hmm.
the ZSK Germany had a booth there, and
Hmm.
they opened up and showed the new rocket. The rocket single head can produce 2,000 stitches a minute.
Wow.
And me being an embroiderer, I had to go check this out, right? 2,000 stitches a minute. You couldn't even see the needle moving. All you saw was just thread coming out on a garment. That needle was spinning and just going so quickly and perfectly. I mean, I was
Yeah.
okay. Are we going to have some skip stitches? Are we going to have thread breaks? Are those going to be increased? It was beautiful. I mean, dynamic. They are going to have that released probably by the end of this year. It'll be available also in a forehead, but it's
Okay.
2,000 stitches a minute.
Huge.
This great stuff.
Does that make it the fastest machine on the market now?
Currently, yes, that will be the
Yeah.
fastest machine, embroidery machine on the
Yeah, that's
market,
what I meant. Yeah.
and it's a CSA.
So the bar just
Yeah,
got
it's
raised.
great.
So yeah, everybody's going to have to reach up to them. So ZSK has
Right.
really been coming out with all kinds of stuff. I know. I mean, I know. I was listening to one of your um, short videos talking about things of hot air cutters they can do and how to do applique for beads and stuff attachments. So man, those are available, and GSK is like on top of it right now.
Yeah, ZSK is always, their engineers there in Germany are totally
Hmm.
committed to what can we do that can change the industry, increase productivity, and they're just fantastic. So with this bead device, it attaches just to the side of the head, and now you can start adding beads or hanging
Right.
beads, sequins. There's
Sure.
even a device for cording, and cording looks like a real thin rope where you
Oh,
can
okay.
add
Yeah.
something unique to your design. And you don't have to buy a whole new machine, it's just an attachment. So they
Man,
really try and do things. Name badge. So the military, those name badges, they have a holder so that you have that big roll of the military name tape, and it'll
sure.
hold it. And you can just name after name. And there's so many things that you can add to the ZSK, and they continue to add more.
And again,
So
that just makes you a better business with more options and better markets and set yourself apart in your
yeah,
market. We have a question. Brian asked on the ZSK Rocket. Can you sew hats at that speed or just flat items?
they were only showing flat at the Long Beach show.
Hmm.
The question did come up on hats, and they are going to be developing this for the hats as well.
Wow, that's big. Because I
Yeah.
know,
So
yeah, hats are big. Hats are all embroidered now or done
yeah.
with patches and stuff. So yeah, so much. Ray says Joe Garcia forced to go look at them in Long Beach. The bead unit is nearly at pick and paste level, useful for electronics work. So, okay, I don't know what that means. Okay, cool. Um,
Yeah, Joe Garcia, that's our guy.
yeah, yeah, he's one of the top guys for GSG on there.
Yeah,
So, what
I
else?
agree.
Anything else new coming out that GSG has?
Yeah, it's, something else that's new is going to be the new positioning station. What this is,
Hmm.
it attaches to your hoop master, and it'll shine down the design, the actual design, true to size, onto the garment, so that your operator knows exactly what hoop to use. Nothing like hooping up, 6 shirts, and then you
Right.
realize, wow, I used too small of a hoop. And it shows the exact image that's going to be embroidered onto the garment. And so this is called the easy positioning system, and we should
Okay.
have access to that by the end of summer. It too is
Wow.
being designed and developed by CSK, but it's used for
Any
anybody who's using a hoop master. So it doesn't matter the brand of machine that you use, but it is going to make sure the accuracy is there and the right hoop and not wasting time.
Man, again, we're talking about saving time and labor, and that just comes into productivity. Because I imagine, like anything in decorating, whether you're screen printing and you're lining it up, it's all about, your downtime is all in setup. And now with this positioning right onto the hoop master, now your graphic is perfectly aligned and positioned
Hmm.
correctly. So, man, that
Yeah,
I
and
think that's probably even a bigger game changer than color reel.
yeah,
That one excites me. I mean, just from a process control, anytime you can control that and just tighten up your setup, that just makes then it's all production. It's all show me money. So instead of show
yes,
me the money, it's show me money. So yeah. So
right,
man,
right, and yeah, and just like if you have a left chest logo and now you have to put something on the right, now it's
yep.
easy to perfectly line those up. They're not having to use
Oh yeah.
rulers or tape. They just shine the design, make it center, off you go.
Perfect. Man, I can't wait to see these in operation. So I'm sure that won't be at Indy, but I'm sure in some of the later shows, hopefully it'll be there and we'll be able to get a look at
Yes,
it.
ISS Fort Worth is what I'm targeting
Shooting.
for right now. That it'll be ready, and Germany's working steadily, so we should have it there.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, are you the largest CSK dealer in the United States?
We are there are four distributors here in the
Okay.
US, and I would yes, GSG I would say is the largest
One,
for
one of their main
CSK
ones.
distribution. One of the
Oh,
main ones for
awesome.
sure.
Awesome. That's great. And we'll talk about this in a minute because it's not just about selling a machine, and it's like this in any segment of garment decorating. My thing is always what happens after the sale. Who's there with you? Who's helping you with training? Who's helping you with maintenance? And we'll talk about that in a minute because we need to do what we call paying some bills. And our sponsor, we want to do a little show of them. So if you're not familiar with Graphic Solutions Group and you're just listening, going, man, what do these people don't do? They do it all in printing. So take a look at this.
GSG, the combination of over half a century of knowledge with industry-leading technology and the customer at the center of everything that we do. Graphic Solutions Group is a powerhouse distributor of traditional screen, sign, wide format digital printing, embroidery, and textile decorating. We are committed to our customers, providing support, educational, and consulting services. Your success is our success. We've seen these industries grow and change in our 70 years. One thing never changes: GSG's dedication providing the best products and services available. We've been around, we'll be around, from the highs and the lows, standing right here with you. GSG, the right products, right away.
All right, and we're back. So we're back now. So thank you, GSG and Liz. We appreciate everybody for the sponsorship and the partnership. It has been great. You guys have had us down to your facilities and shows, and always it's been a great partnership. So we're excited to continue this. And like I said, it's the right products, the right time, and you're always, when there's something new, or like I said, you've talked about some things that are coming down the pike that they're not even available yet, but GSG is right on top of it. So, and I love the partnership you have with ZSK on there, and that's a great supplier vendor relationship where you're working together. What's coming up, and I'm sure you're giving input also.
Yeah, yeah. and they're fantastic. And I've been in the industry, like I mentioned earlier, a long time, and I've
Yep.
run lots of different equipment. And there are good ones out there, but ZSK, I partnered with ZSK because of their dynamics and how they always look to come out with something better to help you in your
Yep.
production and your goals. So
Awesome.
they are just the ones I wanted to partner with for sure.
Well, we have a during the show, Ray posted this during the commercial. He says, by the way, what I really was looking at is ZSK. It has equipment to sew in RFID antenna wires on goods. So, Ray, I didn't quite understand. Do they have that already? They were looking at, or are you familiar with this, Liz? So again, so Ray is in that
Yeah,
medical device on there. So anything that can, people don't realize how much the medical industry is really coming in with the apparel industry. So,
hmm
so can
yeah.
you explain a
ZSK
little bit what's
has
going on there?
Yeah, is also into like what we refer to industrial sewing for
Hmm.
leather, aircraft, interior, but we also have technical embroidery machines, and that is what he's referring to. The technical embroidery machines will actually do the wire and do different composites that can be
Right.
made. So that's a whole different division. It's not considered embroidery, but it's technical. Technical embroidery machines, I guess, is the right word to use. So you can get carbon fiber, and you can stitch out it's like in the shape of a bicycle seat. Then it goes
Sure.
and gets into a form and composite, and now it's hard as a rock. But it originally stitched using carbon fiber.
Sure. He says it's under the technical tab of their website. They also do a production line integration for their machines, which is awesome. And I know, Ray was talking about, doing RFID antenna wires on there. Man, that is just incredible with what's going on uh, and I guess we would call it industrial imprinting, but it's on the technical end of it. So technical sewing, I guess it would be called.
Yeah.
So now is that a division that GSG works in at all?
We don't actively go and pursue that customer at the moment, right?
Hmm.
We don't. We go after the apparel industry, but we do get calls for this equipment, and we will service them, work with ZSK, connect Germany
Okay.
with them as well. So because most of these machines have to be built on their specifications. It's not just
Right.
a one-all fits everybody. It's usually talked about, designed for their application.
So it's not so much like we talk about in screen printing. It's not so much decorating. It is still manufacturing.
Right,
So,
correct.
yep, absolutely. Ray says that example is sewing RFID on uniforms to sort sizes and colors. That would be incredible. Uh, Let me help drag my GSG buddies into the industrial. I'm sure they would welcome that. So now you have your
Yeah,
contact in the machine side. So wonderful. Well, let's man, I know we could always talk about what's new and what's coming up in different markets. Um, as we talked about on there, it's great with ZSK and all they're coming out with. And if you need machines, you can go buy those ZSG or my thing is you can buy a machine or buy something from anywhere in the world on the web. But what happens after that? Apparel decorating is real big on education, and I know Liz, that's part of your job, and that is basically a majority of your job is to educate the people on what is the best product for them, how you can help them get the most out of it, and there's a lot going on with education with GSG and your embroidery segment.
yeah. We throughout every year for about the past 10 years, we've been having on-site education programs for embroidery. And it doesn't matter what machine brand you have. It's going to be embroidery 101. We show you all the basics of how to take care of when to change needles,
Mhm.
how to improve your current stitching, what products you should be looking at bringing into your shop to achieve some of the results that I show samples on. It is a hands-on class. We do some sewing, we do puff foam 3D to introduce you to it,
Perfect.
applique, how you can add this to your business. But we basically go beyond what an install and training at your location does. They
Right.
do help you, assist you, they get you started. Now we take you to the next level. And we've been doing this quite successfully for, like I said, about 9, 10 years now. And
Mhm.
we're going to continue growing it and adding anything we know that's new coming out. We try and have it at these classes so that you're the first one to see it, touch it, use it, and bring
Right.
it into your. Um, we have some upcoming classes coming up here for also basics of digitizing. That is going to be one of the classes. That is June 27th. That's going to be in the Dallas location. It's the basics of what you need to know to get started. Some people are farming it out and you have
Yep.
no intentions of bringing it in. This is still a good class to attend because now when you get the design back, you can already identify what edits you need and you can do them because you've learned how to do the basics of creating a design. It helps
Yep.
you be a better editor of a design.
Yep.
So it's still encouraged to attend one and learn the basics. So we have that. It's going to be the only one we have this year. We do it because as to help you be better at
Yep.
editing, but it's not a class that we want to do a lot of because more people need the one-on-one embroidery class.
Agreed. And as you said, as more people are outsourcing stuff, you still got to be knowledgeable in what you're outsourcing and what's coming back. And then you got to know, do I really want to outsource that? Well, I can do that right in house quicker and faster. It still comes about profit. You might want to outsource this, this, but no, this we can keep in house. So you got to be smart about your business on it. And you can only be smart if you have the tools and the knowledge of it. So that's a digitizing class right there at your facility in Dallas. Dallas is a great place to fly into. So, yeah, I'm sure they'll take care of you. So,
Oh yeah, we take care of everyone.
absolutely. Um, we got a little shout out from you. I think you know this gentleman, Mark Soldonic. Hey, Liz, the
Oh, I
GSG
do know that
embroidery class
guy.
is awesome. Yep, I think you've met a couple times. And then Chris
And
Molds
just
early is here from up in Canada. So a little late to the party, but glad you made it. So I didn't know, Chris, do you do embroidery at all, or do you farm that out up there in Alberta? So yeah, but thanks for tuning in. Um, so you're having a digitizing class, but you're also having some other classes. Um, you said you're doing some 101 classes, but it sounds like they're more like 101.5.
Right. Yeah. We start you off slow and then we really build you up. And by the end of the class, you're doing 3D foam. And we show you how easy it really is. And
Yep.
having the right design makes all the difference in the world. And with your hooping processes, we show you how to properly hoop that hat to get the
Right.
best results. So that's called our embroidery basics 101. But yeah, I would probably say quick five. So we do have
Yeah.
the Cincinnati is July 12th. That's going to be coming up. Milwaukee, July 21st. So really great classes. Then back to Texas and Houston, October 11th.
Yep. Awesome. So I love the education, and I know people are always looking for that, especially, and I say, well, except I'm glad we're saying it's 101.5 because when you can learn to do 3D foam, that seems to be the one going, man, I need someone to show me how to do it. I've tried it in puckers or whatever. And sometimes it looks harder than it really is. And people do an applique and everything on it. So these are things that will expand your business out, increase your marketplace value over your competition. So you can always go and find out where these are at GSG. Chris actually says, no, I don't. I farm it out. So, meaning he doesn't embroider, he doesn't do it in house. Um,
Right.
so now, Liz, are you at every one of these classes? Or I know you. You know, the other thing aside from education is service, and GSG not only has you to help out, but you have technicians that do installs and work on machines and everything. So, are you at most of the training classes, or do you have a team that does that also?
At the embroidery basics class, I'm always at those.
Mhm.
The digitizing, I usually also invite a speaker from Wilcom to come
Oh,
in,
great.
and I'll be there to assist as well. The maintenance class, we do have one coming up November 15th in Dallas. The
Okay.
maintenance class is really great, and our service technicians do this particular class. They
Perfect.
go through all the basics of rotary hook timing, how to change out knives, how to properly maintain your machine, and then they go into even more in depth items
Mm.
of how to put things back into time if something goes wacky and you hit a hoop or whatever. So it's a good hands on class. We limit it to only like 8 people because you are going to do all the things. You are going to touch the machine and do the repairs that they show. But it's
Absolutely.
fantastic. And our technicians, as you had mentioned, are the best in the industry. I They can build a machine from the ground up. They know these machines so well. And what's also nice about our service team and our management, that's Casey Reeves, is
Hmm.
they're great people to work with, and the technicians are certified in more than just ZSK. They'll go and they'll
Wonderful.
work on most commercial embroidery machines, and they're good. They're very good.
Now, on the maintenance class, is that just for ZSK? But I would imagine if someone has a different brand, they're going to learn how to maintain their own machine also.
They're gonna, yeah, if they have another brand, they're gonna learn some basic things that they could possibly apply to their machine.
Hmm.
But it is mainly catered around the ZSK.
Okay.
Rotary hook timing, is pretty much universal on most all
Sure.
machines. The distance you have to keep it, from the needle itself. Uh, but yeah, we have had people without ZSK attend this class, and they were pretty happy with the results.
All right. Wonderful. Wonderful. That's great to know. And I know maintenance, I get people asking, going, I have this brand of machine. There's only one guy, to find a good embroidery technician is kind of rare. And like I said, our friend Bill Garvin is the only one I know of out of Florida, and he can't
Yeah.
do the whole country. So I was not even aware that GSG had technicians that could work on that. So man, again, another great resource from, again, I love after the sale. What happens after the sale to help you your business keep growing? And so awesome how GSG handles all that. No matter what
Yeah.
segment, whether it's embroidery or sign or a screen. So very very
Yeah.
cool on there.
Yeah, GSG is really strong about support after the sale in all of our segments, not
Yep.
just embroidery. And we actually follow up with the customer, make sure everything arrived okay, everything's all
Mhm.
right. Um, After their training, they can call in to our service line. We will walk them through and try to avoid even having a technician have to come out. A lot of times when we get a call on
Oh yeah.
embroidery, it's something that we could just FaceTime and walk them through and get them back up and running. It was something very simple, uh, but there's no charge to the customer for that. That's part of our service that we give our customers after the sale. We're not going to send you a phone fee, even
Yeah.
if we're on the phone for 45 minutes to an hour.
Right.
That's part of what we do is we take care of our customer.
That's incredible, and that is so big, especially in today's marketplace, where you can either talk on the phone or especially through FaceTime or a camera. And I know we all became more savvy at this, where I'd be talking to a client during COVID. They're going, "I wish you were here." I go, "Well, you have a camera on your phone? Yeah, put it on FaceTime. Walk back to your shop. Show me what's going on. Don't tell them that I'm watching, but yeah, there it is, and you can work things out because it's not about having that service fee. It's about helping your client. They're down. How can I get them back up running and get production going? So
Exactly.
that is so awesome on that. So if you're interested in any of those classes or any of the classes, you can go right to gogsg.com to their website, and all of them will be there under there's stuff under education, but also GSGU University. So look those up, and not only just for embroidery, but if you're in screen and stuff, these classes are going to be at all their branches at different branches, different time. Find out which one's close to you, and you know what? Invest in your business. If you have to fly to Dallas, fly to Dallas. Do it. Invest in your business. I don't, you won't regret it at all.
Yeah, education is number one, and
Huge.
something that I should have mentioned earlier is a new product that GSG is coming out with to help support our customers. During COVID, a lot of
Huh?
back orders happening with backing, and
Right.
you just couldn't get it in. When you finally did get it in, that company either went to the wayside, and now we're struggling trying to find the next alternative.
Right.
We GSG jumped in and actively started searching for vendors that can modify to our how do I want to put it, to our standards, and
Your
to make sure they
specification.
always have it, yeah, readily available. So it took about 9 months of product research,
Mhm.
and I've narrowed it down to the two different weights that I liked in this backing. I then gave it to several of our big customers to beta test, get their results,
Mhm.
and they all felt the same. So we're proud to announce that probably it should happen in July, and it is public notice now because you're going to see it if you receive our Pulse flyer. We
Right.
have come out with our own star backing.
I have
So the
seen
name
that.
is Star.
So that's your own. I almost want to say private label, but it is actually you've come up with your own backing. So again, another reason, it's your brand name, but you're always going to have product stock of that, and that's incredible.
Mhm.
So yeah, because
And the main,
the right backing can make or break. I've saw some video of you talking about different backings and why, whether it's tearaway or the different weights or cutaway or anything like that. Washaways, there's a ton of them, and then Solvay, and there's so many out there. And you said, some people, they'll just use a paper towel or a coffee filter. It's like, yeah, not doing it, not cutting it whatsoever. So, well, man, great. So good. We got the scoop on it on the Starback, and uh,
Mhm.
so cool. Well, let's talk about some things. What are the things you see that people can do and maybe don't know? These little tips and tricks that make them look, make their production better, but make their graphics go either faster or look better.
Yeah, one of the biggest challenges I think embroidery customers have is small letters
Oh
when they're
yeah,
trying to, because the inside of a B on a very small letter, and when I say small letter, anything below 0.20 in height,
right.
the inside of the O closes, the inside of the A closes in, and
Yep.
it just looks like a blob of thread. And customers want it to look like it was just stamped on
A
there.
lowercase e.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
exactly.
what I
And
notice.
that, and customers complain, hey, can you make this lettering look any sharper? Well, they want supercalifragilisticexpialidocious all.com.org on
Right.
1 inch, and it's hard. Or the City of San Antonio Fire Department in a
Mhm.
round circle on a badge. Well, that's where the education, the tip and trick is going to be the, looks like I got something popping up on my screen. It's going to be 60 weight thread.
Yeah.
60 weight thread is a thin thread. Everybody standard uses a 40 weight. Well, the higher the
Okay.
number in thread, the thinner the thread. So you
Okay. Good
use a
to know.
60, but you can't just use 60 weight thread by itself. You have to go down to a thinner, smaller needle. So that is going to be the 60, 65, or 69 needle.
Okay.
68.9 needle is what it is. Sorry about that. And it's a thinner needle, makes a smaller hole for the
Hmm.
thinner thread to go through, and that's really going to make a huge difference. Also, if you have something digitized and it's going to be a small letter, the digitizer should automatically know that this is going to be really thin. And you can tell them that you want to use 60 weight thread in that area, and they'll
Okay.
make sure they do the proper underlay. In most cases, it's
Ah,
removed.
okay.
But I'm telling you, this 60 weight thread and a smaller needle does a, a magical job in getting these small letters to sew out and look wonderful. Big difference.
This is stuff you probably teach in your 101 class also.
It is. And I
Perfect.
show a before using a 40
Yeah.
weight, and then I show an after, and then everyone gets it. You're like, oh my God, I can read that. And small details, not just letters. There's even, there was a beard. It's a Santa Claus picture, and there's like this
Hmm.
little beard. And the definition of his beard with three different colors just looks fantastic because it's very fine detail.
Right. Man, incredible. Now, to get a thinner thread, a 60 weight thread, is that available on both threads that you handle at GSG, Madeira and Isocord?
It is. Uh, we mainly stock more heavily on the isocord, and the 60 weight thread is available. What's
Okay.
really neat about the, let's say you have, you're going to use 60 weight white letters. So you're going to get
Mhm.
the 60 weight white. But the other sections of your design can take the standard 40 weight white. They cross match. Isocord says, okay, you're going to use this particular white in 40 weight. We have the perfect white match in a 60 weight. Order this one. And it's
Oh,
on the color
awesome.
card. Because
Okay.
as you know, white can have 8 different shades,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah,
This
absolutely.
will be a perfect match.
Man, great to know. Um, from everybody listening, man, I'd love to know from people that are embroidering, what are the little tips and tricks that you use or some of the problems maybe you're having out there. So make sure you bring the questions in to us. What else? What do you see from talking to clients? Like there are certain things when I'm talking to a client that calls me and they're having, everybody goes, how do you troubleshoot so easily? Well, a lot of times over the years, like you and I've done, Liz, we hear the same problems over and over a lot. What are those one problems that you hear over and over in embroidery that are, just need some tweaks? Doesn't mean they're a bad decorator. They just need to be tweaking their process a little bit. Is there anything like that that you can share?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the way I always start my class off is the reason why I'm teaching this class is I found 5 different ways to make the same mistake. And I finally
Absolutely.
figured out how to do it right.
Yep.
So, and when as soon as they start talking and telling me what they're having, I'm like, yeah, been there, done that. It's going to be
Yeah.
hats. A lot of people, hats are a big thing here in the U.S. And they're
Oh yeah.
like, well, I sewed this on a shirt and it was perfect. Now I put it on a hat and I'm having registration issues. So a lot of
Ah,
it is, first of all, you can't always use the same design that was digitized for a shirt and expect to get the same results on a hat. You
mm,
have to modify the design. So a border around an oval, the satin stitch has to be a little wider than what you had
right.
on the shirt because hats do shift and move during the process. But sometimes we don't understand that you have to tweak that design a little bit or have it custom digitized for a hat. And getting the hats hoop tight enough. People don't realize how you really have to make it tight to keep
Mhm.
registration. And I would say
Ah,
half the time the sewing issues is just not hooping it properly and getting it tight enough.
well, something we talked about earlier about the new positioning unit that's coming out. Would that help? Does that work on hats also?
It can be modified for for it
Okay.
to work on hats. The way it attaches right now is to the hoop master, but I'm sure there's a way we can find where we can adjust it
Okay.
and put it where the cap is being hooped. One of the main things too is a different product that's come out for hats,
Oh, okay.
and it's called the Gen 2 cap frame. Some of the viewers
Okay.
may have heard of it or seen it, but it actually hoops your hat tighter at the station when you're hooping it. And it takes the
Ah,
wear and fatigue away from the operator hooping hats. Because after you've done a gross of hats, 144, your
yeah.
left or right hand is getting pretty tired from pulling so tight. This
Yep.
does all that, and it keeps that tightness on those caps. So that's a product everyone should look into. It's available for all commercial machines, and we do have those, and we can assist you with that here at GSG. But it's called the Gen 2 cap frame, and it also has the side of a hat frame and the back of a hat. So now doing hats in any position, it can be done so much easier and efficiently, effectively, and not as much wear and tear on your operator.
Right. So it's called the Gen 2 cap frame.
Yes.
So something to look up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And this,
and I'm sure, like when I asked about the positioning unit, and that's my ignorance of not knowing embroidery. As soon as you started talking, I'm going, oh, that's right. Caps are hooped different than a regular garment with a hoop master. So I'm sure the embroidery people are going, oh, come on, Alan. This is common knowledge.
no,
But
no,
not to me.
no, they're not,
But
not at all.
wonderful. Great. So, man, all kinds of stuff coming out. So we have about
Yeah.
2 minutes left, 2 or 3 minutes left. What about threads? Like you guys handle Isocord and Madeira, and we've had Nancy Mims on from Madeira before. And yeah, let's talk. And you have new backing coming out. What about backing? What's the thing that you see most errors of people that you wish embroiderers knew about backing? Is there something about backing that you think everybody needs to realize?
Yeah, it's if the fabric stretches, you have to use a cutaway. If the fabric doesn't stretch, you can use a tearaway. And so many people are like, nope, I'm just going to put cut on everything. Well, a back of a jacket, I'm not going to want a big square of backing when
Oh,
I'm done.
absolutely.
I need to ripped away. Let's get that gone. So the main thing is you use the right backing. A lot of people are using like a 2 or 2.5 ounce. 3 ounces gained a lot of popularity
Yep.
because the shirts are getting thinner, but the
I'll agree.
embroidery isn't.
Yep.
So instead of using two pieces of 2.5 ounce backing, use one piece of 3 ounce. You save money. You only need one
Yep.
sheet, and you're getting perfect results. So just little tips and tricks like that. There's a lot of things in our class that we cover that really take you to the next level. But I would say the backing, understanding which one to use.
Okay. Yeah. And I know what you mean about the shirts. Um, we see in screen printing too. I talk, I do a printing better whites, and we talk about dry fits, and that while shirts are getting thinner and thinner, where there's just less mass of fabric there. It's like I always say, it's like printing on a mosquito wing. And so embroidery, you got to have a stabilizing backing back there for the threads to hold because they have nothing to hang on to. So that just makes common sense. If I can get it, everybody can. Ray says he's got to go. Great show. Thank you, Ray, for watching. Frank Good from SNS says, I know caps are generally sewn center out. Can you use the same sew file from your caps on flats to save money?
Absolutely. Test one first, do a sample, make sure that you're getting the results you want. But I've done it. I've had
Okay,
it digitized for a hat that looked beautiful on a garment.
Okay, awesome. And like everything, test it. Just don't go into it and do it and go, oh, wow, these 50 shirts I just embroidered really look like crap. Test it first and make sure. So, especially with the cost of garments now, it's not like when we started where, a t-shirt is, $1.25. We'll just replace one. Yeah, now they're $40 shirts. So wonderful. Well, great question, and that's a great way to end it on there. Liz, thank you again so much for being here. And I mean, time's flown by already.
Yeah.
If you have questions, you can always go to gogsg.com, and I will find Liz's contact information. She is always available right there if you want to contact her directly or call GSG. I would encourage everybody, and I'm going to let my clients know and people I talk to that are doing embroidery about the upcoming classes. And I cannot wait to see. I think the next opportunity I'll have to see some of these new things like Color Reel are going to be at GPX Indy. So I look forward to seeing everybody there. I'll probably be hanging around the GSG booth. I usually do. And we'll go from there. Liz, any last parting words or anything that you'd like to share?
Yeah, thank you for having me, and always, being here also for GSG. So, everybody who's watched, you have additional questions or you just need some assistance, you can reach out to us here at GSG, and we'll always be here to help you.
That'd be wonderful. And again, if you're watching this and it's after while we're live right now, you still have a question, man, make sure you post it on comments. Marshall and I will see it, and we'll put you in the right direction as best as we can. So thank you so much. Liz, don't go away. We're going to end this, but everybody, thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Liz, what's the weekends in Texas entailing? I know it's real warm down there. I was told it's in the 90s already. Meanwhile,
yeah,
it's like summertime in Michigan. We finally are in the 60s now.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's nice and warm, and it looks like we could get some storms later, but once those go away, the sun comes right back out.
We actually had snow. We actually had snow last week, so yeah, we're kind of over it. So we're ready for spring and summer. So all right, well, hang on for a second. Everybody have a great week. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week at the same time. Bye-bye.
Bye.